Can you get 40 out of 120 in YouTube's biggest ever science quiz? 120 questions, 8 categories. Take the quiz, keep score, and we'll tell you who you are at the end of the quiz based on your score. Here we go. Scientists and discoveries. Who discovered penicillin, the first widely used antibiotic? Who was the first person to propose that Earth revolves around the Sun, not the other way around? Which scientist discovered radioactivity while studying uranium salts? Who co-discovered the structure of DNA as a double helix? Which scientist is known as the father of modern chemistry? Who is often called the first computer programmer for work on early mechanical computers? Who was the first and only person to win the Nobel Prize in 2 different science categories? Who discovered that microbes cause disease, laying the foundation for germ theory? Who was the first person to accurately measure the circumference of Earth? Which scientist discovered electromagnetism by linking electricity and magnetism? Who developed the periodic table by organizing elements according to their properties? Which scientist proposed the Big Bang theory as the origin of the universe? Who discovered the neutron, a key particle in atomic nuclei? What groundbreaking book did Stephen Hawking write to explain cosmology to the general public? Which scientist is considered the founder of genetics due to experiments with pea plants? Rosalind Franklin's pivotal contribution was in the discovery of the structure of what molecule? Which famous scientist was born in the same year that James Clerk Maxwell died? What is Nikola Tesla most famous for inventing or developing? Who proposed the planetary model of the atom, where electrons orbit a dense nucleus? Who was the first to explain that vision occurs when light reflects from an object into one's eyes? Space. Mercury was named after which Roman god or goddess? What is the name given to a star that suddenly increases greatly in brightness before slowly fading? Which planet has the longest day, taking longer to rotate once than to orbit the Sun? In which year did the physicist John Wheeler coin the term black hole? Which was the first artificial satellite ever launched into space? In which year did light year, as a measure of distance, appear in an article by Otto Uhle in a German popular astronomical magazine? Which planet is famous for its massive storm, known as the Great Red Spot? How far is the Andromeda Galaxy, the nearest major galaxy to the Milky Way? Which celestial objects are often described as dirty snowballs? What do we call the path an object takes as it moves around another object in space? Which planet has the most moons currently known? What is the scientific name for the Northern Lights? Which astronomer showed that galaxies beyond our own exist? What type of galaxy is the Milky Way? What happens when a meteoroid survives its journey through Earth's atmosphere and lands on the ground? The Kármán line defines the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space at what altitude? Which moon in our solar system is the only one known to have a substantial nitrogen-rich atmosphere and features hydrocarbon lakes? What term describes the point in an object's orbit when it is closest to the Sun? The Goldilocks zone, or the habitable zone around a star, is defined as the region where what happens? What is the name of the supermassive black hole believed to be at the center of the Milky Way galaxy? Physics. Of the four fundamental forces of nature, which force is the weakest? Which scientist famously said, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds"? According to Einstein's theory of relativity, what happens when an object moves close to the speed of light? Which unit is used to measure force? In which of these mediums does light travel slowest? Which type of energy is stored in a stretched rubber band? What term describes the resistance of an object to changes in its motion? Which particle was discovered first? Which of these is not a type of lightning? Heisenberg's uncertainty principle refers to a particle's position and which other property? What happens to the wavelength of light as it shifts toward the red end of the spectrum? What device converts electrical energy into mechanical motion? At 20 degrees Celsius, how many meters does sound travel in air in 1 second? Acceleration is a change of what? In which publication was Einstein's famous equation E equals mc squared published in 1905? Which law of thermodynamics states that if two systems are both in thermal equilibrium with a third system, then they are in thermal equilibrium with each other? What property of a wave is defined as the number of complete cycles per unit of time? What phenomenon occurs when a wave passes through a narrow gap or around the edge of an obstacle? What is the fourth state of matter, along with solids, liquids, and gases? The principle that the pressure exerted by a fluid decreases when the flow speed increases is known as what? Biology. What is the basic unit of life shared by all living organisms? Which organ in the human body uses the most energy? What pigment in plants captures light energy for photosynthesis? Which animal is capable of regenerating lost limbs? By mass, which element makes up 65% of the human body? Which part of the cell contains genetic material? What do enzymes mainly help speed up in living organisms? In which part of its body does a butterfly have taste receptors? What type of blood cell helps fight infections? Which of the following refers to the sense of smell? In cells, what does RNA stand for? Which animal is known for having 3 hearts? Which animal is not capable of echolocation to navigate and hunt? Which of these animals is not a mammal? What part of the human eye controls how much light enters? At between 2 and 2.5 centimeters per day, what is the fastest growing tissue in the animal kingdom? What is the primary molecule used by cells to store and transfer energy for immediate use? In humans, which organ system is primarily responsible for the production and secretion of hormones that regulate growth, metabolism, and reproduction? What are the 2 main waste products of the process of cellular respiration that produces energy in the form of ATP? The process by which a less specialized cell, like a stem cell, becomes a more specialized cell type, like a muscle or nerve cell, is called what? Chemistry. Which element has the atomic number 1? Which element has the chemical symbol K? What scale is commonly used to measure how acidic a substance is? Which gas makes up the largest percentage of Earth's atmosphere? What do we call a substance that speeds up a chemical reaction without being used up? Which gas is released when acids react with metals? What does the atomic number of an element uniquely represent? What is the chemical formula for table salt? What did Joseph Black call carbon dioxide, which he discovered in 1755? Which element is essential for making steel stronger? What type of bond involves the sharing of electrons between atoms? Which of the following statements is false? In a balanced chemical equation, what must be equal on both sides of the arrow? Which common substance is often used to neutralize acids? Which substance has the lowest pH value? What do we call a reaction that releases heat to its surroundings? Which of these is not a real element? Which group of elements on the periodic table is known for being highly unreactive, odorless, and colorless gases under standard conditions? Which principle states that electrons fill the lowest energy atomic orbitals first? Which element is the most abundant in the universe? Psychology and neuroscience. Which part of the brain is primarily responsible for decision-making and planning? Which sense is processed fastest by the human brain? Which hormone is strongly associated with bonding and trust? Which neurotransmitter is strongly linked to motivation and reward? How much of our metabolic energy does the brain consume? Prehistoric life. Which era is most closely associated with dinosaurs dominating life on land? Which creatures are considered the closest living relatives of dinosaurs? Which prehistoric period came first? Which prehistoric animal is known for its long neck and enormous size? What type of fossil preserves an organism's shape but not its original material? What does Homo sapiens mean in Latin? Which extinction event was the largest in Earth's history? Earth science. Which layer of Earth lies directly beneath the crust? What do we call molten rock beneath Earth's surface? Which type of cloud is typically associated with thunderstorms? Which of the following is not a sphere in the Earth's system? What causes seasons on Earth? Which part of the atmosphere contains the ozone layer? What do geologists call a naturally occurring solid with a definite chemical composition? What rock is formed from compacted plant material over millions of years? Okay, now it's time to tell you who you are based on your score. If you got less than 30, you are Freddy. If you got up to 50, you are Al-Khwarizmi. If you got up to 70, you are Marie Curie. And if you got up to 90, you are Sir Isaac Newton. Finally, if you got more than 90, you are, drum roll please, Albert Einstein. Tell us your score and who you are in the comments. Thank you for playing the Periculum Science Quiz, and please subscribe for more fun quizzes. Goodbye.